Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Bhagavatam class. I apologize, it was an issue that I had to deal with in the YouTube section of it. That's why we didn't start right away. So this morning we're having class, which is a recording of a Srimad Bhagavatam class given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada in 1973 in Los Angeles. Canto 1, Chapter 15, Text 49. Without further ado, we'll start the class. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Viduro.
Viduro.
Api.
Parityajya.
Prabhāse. Deham. ātmanaḥ. kṛṣṇāveśena. tac-cittaḥ. pitṛbhiḥ. sva-kṣayaṁ. yayau. Viduro parityajya prabhāse deham ātmanaḥ kṛṣṇāveśena tac-cittaḥ pitṛbhiḥ sva-kṣayaṁ yayau viduro parityajya prabhāse deham ātmanaḥ kṛṣṇāveśena tac-cittaḥ pitṛbhiḥ sva-kṣayaṁ yayau viduro parityajya prabhāse deham ātmanaḥ kṛṣṇāveśena tac-cittaḥ pitṛbhiḥ sva-kṣayaṁ yayau viduro parityajya prabhāse deham ātmanaḥ.
All right.
Vidura, the uncle of Maharaj Yudhishthir. Api, also. Parityajya, after quitting the body. Prabhāse, in the place of pilgrimage at Prabhāsa. Deham, ātmanaḥ, his body. Kṛṣṇa, the personality of Godhead. Aveśena, being absorbed in that thought. Tat, his. Cittaḥ, thoughts and actions. Pitṛbhiḥ, along with the residents of Pitṛloka. Sva-kṣayaṁ, his own abode. Yayau, departed. Translation. Vidura, while on pilgrimage, left his body at Prabhāsa. Because he was absorbed in thought of Lord Kṛṣṇa, he was received by the denizens of the Pitṛloka, where he returned to his original post.
This Vidura was Jamaraj. So, he was cursed by one Muni to go down and take birth in Shudra family. Yamaraj was very exalted post, but still Yamaraj means the superintendent of death. There is Pitṛloka, Yamaloka, different planets. And where each planet is situated, how many miles, jojan, the Sanskrit is called jojan. Jojan means 8 miles. So, how many jojan is one planet is situated from the another planet? That is all described in the Bhagavad, 5th canto. So, there is a Pitṛloka, Yamaloka. Just like the moon planet, we are trying to go there. But there are different lokas, planets, and you can go not by the Sputnik, by force, no. You have to qualify yourself. Just like to come to your country to take the permanent visa, I had to qualify in so many ways the immigration department. Not by force. Even in this planet, you cannot enter any country without being permitted. How you can enter other planets? Simply by force? No, that is not possible. You have to qualify yourself. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Janti deva vrata devan. A person can go to the planets of the demigods, Devan. There are many demigods, Indra, Chandra, Varun, Vayu, Brahmalok, Prajapatilok, Siddhalok. They are in the higher planetary system. We are now situated in the middle. Bhuloka, it is called Bhuloka. Above this, there is Bhuvarloka. Above that, Saraloka, Janaloka, Mahaloka, Satyaloka, like that. Urdhaloka, they are higher planets, they are middle. And then lower planetary system. Urdhanga chanti sattva. If you develop sattvagun, the quality of goodness, then according to your degree of goodness, you get promoted to the higher planets. Urdham gachanti sattasva, madhye tishtanti rajasa. If you are in the passion modes, then you stay here in this middle planetary system. And javanna gunavrittistha adho gachanti tamasa. Those who are in the most abominable condition of life, adho gachanti, they go down. Not only the down planetary system, but even to the animal kingdom, the beasts, birds, trees, plants, aquatics. You have to go. After all, you have to change this body. Change, this is Bhagavad Gita says, tatha dehantara prapti. As we are changing this body from childhood, from babyhood to childhood, childhood to boyhood, boyhood to youth, this is practical. You are not the same body as you had your body in the womb of your mother. That body is gone. Now, daily changing, every moment, you are changing body. Advancing age means I am changing body. You are changing body. So it is very easy to understand that we are changing our body. But I know, you know, every one of us, that I had such and such body. You remember that you had a child's body, you are playing like that. When you see another child, you say, oh, I was also a child like him, and I was doing like this. But where is that body that is gone? Now you have got another body. This example is given in the Bhagavad Gita. So as you are changing body, tatha dehantara prapti. Similarly, after giving up this body, you have to accept another body. This is the logic, and any sane man can understand. So, we have become so rascal that we do not believe in the transmigration of the soul. Actually, presently I can understand that I had such and such body, now I have transmigrated to this body. How I have done, that is not known to you and me. That is called achinta. Perceptive. Just like the child is changing body, and you saw one child on the lap of his mother. Say after a few years, you come, you cannot recognize the same child who has grown up. Or the mother says, this is such and such. Oh, you have become so grown up. So things have taken imperceptibly. That is going on by the subtle laws of nature. There is a great science. There is no discussion of this science in any university of the whole world. And they are advancement of knowledge. They are claiming advancement of knowledge. What knowledge you have got? You do not know what you are, and you are advancement in knowledge. Therefore, Sanatana Goswami, who was Prime Minister of Nawab Hussain Shah, when he approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his first proposition was that Gramma Bhavare Kahoe Pandit Satya Kori Mani. My dear sir, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, some neighboring people, they call me, I am very learned scholar. Gramma Bhavare. In ordinary behavior, they call me, I am very learned scholar. But I do not know what I am. I am such a scholar. This is the submission. This is called submission. Everyone is puffed up that I know. I know everything. So there is no need of going to a guru. This is the method to approach a guru, spiritual master. Surrender. That I know so many rubbish things which are useless. Now kindly teach me. This is called submission. Just like Arjuna said, Shishyasteham sadhimang prapanyam. When there was argument between Arjuna and Kṛṣṇa, and when the matter was not solved, then Arjuna submitted to Kṛṣṇa. My dear Kṛṣṇa, now we are talking as friends, no more friendly talking. I accept you as my spiritual master. Kindly teach me what is my duty. That is Bhagavad Gita. So, one has to learn tad vijnanatham se gurumeva abhigache. This is the Vedic injunction. Yeah, what is the value of life, how it is changing, how we are transmigrating from one body to another, what I am this body, or beyond something. These things are to be inquired. That is human life. Atāta brahma jigyāsa. This inquiry should be more. So it is Kali Yuga, without any knowledge, without any inquiry, without any guru, without any book, everyone is God. That's all. This is going on. Fool's paradise. So this is not hell. Yet, about the Vidura, he also, viduropi parityajya prabhāse deham ātmanaḥ kṛṣṇāveśena tac-cittaḥ pitṛbhiḥ sva-kṣayaṁ yayau. I was talking about Vidura. Vidura was Jamaraj. So, a eccentric person was brought before Jamaraj for punishment. So when the eccentric person inquired from the Jamaraj that I don't remember that I have committed in my life any sin, why I have been brought here for judgment? So Jamaraj said that you do not remember in your childhood you pricked one ant with a needle through the rectum and she died, therefore you have to be punished. Just see. In childhood, in ignorance, because he committed some sin, he has to be punished. And we are willingly against the principle of religion that thou shalt not kill. We have opened so many thousands of slaughterhouses, giving a nonsense theory that the animal has no soul. Just see the fun. And this is going on. And we want to be in peace. Therefore your Senate House has issued some injunction, order, that on the 30th of April 1974 there will be mass prayer. We explain it. Just explain. What is that?
Well, when the senator made a resolution that on April 30th there be a national observance of prayer because of the state of the nation of moral decay.
So you might have seen that. It is good that at least the managers of the state, they are coming to their sense. But this sentiment will not help. One must be serious. The sinful activities, as we have forwarded our manifesto, that no illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling. But I think they will not agree to this state. And what prayer will do? No. God is not so foolish that you go on doing all nonsense and simply by prayer you become out of it, punishment. No. That is not possible. Therefore I am speaking of the Viduras. So that saintly person accepted to be punished by Jamaraj, but he also cursed him that because In my innocence I committed some sin, you are punishing me in this way. So I also curse you that next life you will have to become a Shudra, because you have no intelligence of a Brahmana or Kshatriya. So Vidura became a Shudra. Shudra means he was born by a king. He was begotten by a king. But his mother was Shudra, maidservant. That was the system, that when a king is married, the father of the princess also gives so many girls to go with the princess as maidservant. And sometimes the maidservants also give birth. They are called Dashi-putra. Such son could not claim to the throne, but were provided, Dashi-putra. So Vidura's history is like that. He was a Dashi-putra, brother, step-brother, not exactly step-brother, but brother of Maharaj Dhritarashtra. But he was a very saintly person, because formerly in his previous life he was Jamaraj, so he was not ordinary man. So he cultivated spiritual consciousness. Now, after leaving this body, he returned again, pitṛbhiḥ sva-kṣayaṁ yayau. He again returned to his original post. Temporarily, he got the life of a Shudra. Again he returned back by his pious activities. Similarly, there are many narrations in the Puranas. Sometimes Indra, the king of heaven, he was also cursed by Brihaspati to become a hog in this planet. So there are many incidences by cursing, by accident, even by accident. You have to accept a body which you do not desire. That is just like Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj, he was the king of this planet, and at the age of 24 years, very young age, young wife, young children, kingdom of the whole planet, he left everything. He went to the forest for cultivating spiritual advancement. But one day he saw that a deer was drinking water in front. In the meantime, there was a roaring of a lion. And the deer was pregnant. She gave birth to a cub and she fled away. So Bharat Maharaj saw the little cub is dying. He picked up and kept, and it became to growing. So he had some little affection, just like we have got affection for cubs of dog and others. So one day that little cub did not return in the evening, and he went to search out on the hill, and accidentally he fell down, and next life he became a deer. Yes. This is the science. Jang vapi smarana bhavam tajattanti kalivaram. In the Bhagavad Gita I will find. At the time of death, as you are thinking, you will be carried to such body. This is the example. Just like this, Bharat Maharaj, such an exalted person, he had to become a deer. But because he was very spiritually advanced, although he became a deer, he was living with the saintly persons. Where saintly persons were sitting, he was sitting down there. he was eating the flowers and leaves which the saintly person left after worship. In this way, he had to wait for one life, and the next life he became a son of a nice Brahmana. So, because he was remembering these different births, he became very grave and silent. He was not talking with anyone. So, it is very dangerous to contaminate. So, he was known as Jadbharat. This story you will find in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, just try to understand that death is there. You have to die. You may declare yourself, I am very independent, I don't care for God or anyone, but God will not excuse you. You have to die. You will see God in the form of death, just like Hiranyakashipu is saying. Prabhāsa says, my dear father, why don't you accept God? No, who is God? I don't care for your God. You rascal boy, you are chanting Hare Krishna. So God, the atheist may declare like that there is no God, but he'll see God at death. And that is compulsory. There is no excuse. So, at the time of death, the mentality which you have created by practice, sada sadbhava bhavita, will act. This Hare Krishna movement, this Krishna consciousness movement, is simply educating people so that at the time of death one can remember Krishna. That's all. This simple. And if he is fortunate enough to do this, immediately he is transferred to the Kṛṣṇaloka. Immediately. Within a second. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Takta deham punarjanmanaiti mameti kaunteya. So, why we should waste our time thinking so many nonsense things? Why not think of Kṛṣṇa, how beautiful he is standing here with Radharani? And we come here and take the impression and simply think of him. Our life is perfect. This is Kṛṣṇa consciousness. What is the difficulty and what is your loss? If you gain such big profit simply by thinking of Kṛṣṇa, why should you lose this opportunity, this human form of life? A cat cannot be educated, a dog cannot be educated. If I teach a dog, my dear dog, please think of Kṛṣṇa, he is unable. It is not possible. But a human being, although at the present moment he is like a dog, but he can be trained to become a human being and think of Kṛṣṇa. That is possible. So we should take the opportunity. Bhaunam janmanam ante. This life is gotten after many, many births. We do not know, we have forgotten. This is the opportunity. And here is the proof, Shastra, that kṛṣṇāveśena tac-cittaḥ. How Jamaraj, Vidura, returned to his place. Now kṛṣṇāveśena tac-cittaḥ. He was fully absorbed in Krishna thought. Not only Krishna, you can go to Kṛṣṇaloka or any loka you desire. The yogis, they also can do that. Yoga practice. But that is not possible in this age. The so-called yoga practice going on simply bluff. Real yoga practice means one becomes so perfect that he will not die natural death. He will die when he likes. He will not be forced to die. When he thinks, now I am fully prepared. Now I shall leave this planet. I shall go to such and such planet, such and such loka. He will be immediately transferred. That is yoga practice. So, that practice is not possible. Therefore, still in India, you will find many yogis are there. They come to Kumbh Mela that will be held in the month of February from distant places. And you will see just like young men, but some of them are 300 years old, 400 years old. Still. How? And they are preparing themselves. They think. A yogi thinks that now I am not prepared. There may be mistake. I am not prepared to enter such and such planet. So that concession is given there by the yogic practice. Just like you appear for an examination, unless you are fully prepared, you are certain that I must pass, you do not appear. Similarly, the yogis, unless one thinks that I am now fully competent to enter such and such planet, he does not give us this body. But that practice may be successful for 1 or 2%. Generally, it is not successful. But this Kṛṣṇa consciousness, Bhakta Yoga system, is so easy and perfect that if you simply think of Kṛṣṇa, and if you become perfect to think of Kṛṣṇa at the time of death, then immediately you are transferred to the Kṛṣṇaloka. Or any loka you like. Not only Kṛṣṇaloka, any loka. If you desire to go to heavenly planet, to Brahma planet, to Satyaloka, Mahaloka, Jalaloka, many thousands and millions of planets are there. Or even if you want to go beyond this material world, to the Vaikuntha planet, Kṛṣṇa planet, Goloka planet, you can go there. This is science. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Janti deva vrata devan pitrin janti pitribhrata. People, just like, they are very much anxious to go to the moon planet. And what is this nonsense moon planet? It is also a material planet. Actually, if you go moon planet, you can live for 10,000 of years. That is the statement in this Shastra. But after 10,000 of years, you have to die. So if you go to any planet within this material world, the 4 material problems, namely birth, death, old age and disease will follow you. You may live in one planet, just like we are allowed to live on this planet at most 100 years, not more than that. Or the ant is allowed to live for 6 hours, or another flies one moment. There are different varieties of it. Or Brahma is allowed to live for millions of years. So according to the different types of body, we are allowed to live under certain duration of life. But nobody can be immortal here. That is not possible. That is possible when you transfer yourself to the spiritual world. Vaikuntha loka. Jad gatyana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. That is possible. So, this Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement is teaching, educating people in such a way that not only he goes to the spiritual world, but he goes to the highest planet of the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan, where Kṛṣṇa is there. Where Kṛṣṇa is there. So, viduropi parityajya prabhāse deham ātmanaḥ. Deham, parityajya deham. So we give up this body. I am not lost. Oh, I am transferred to another body. We give up this body. Just like I give up one kind of dress, I take another kind of dress. Bāsāṅsi jidlāni jatha vihāya. These are all stated in the Bhagavad Gita. As we change our dress, similarly we change our body, and this way transmigration is going on. So this human life should be engaged in such knowledge and cultivation of knowledge that after leaving this body, we are not going to accept another material body, but we be transferred directly to the spiritual world, and we are situated in one of the spiritual planets as I desire. There are many millions of spiritual planets also. So far we are concerned, we are concentrating our mind to be transferred to the spiritual world, the highest, topmost planet there, Kṛṣṇaloka, Goloka. Chintamani prakara sadamasu kalpa vrikkha lakkhābritesu surabhi ravipālayantam Lakshmi sahasra sata sambrama sevamanam govindamadi purusam tamang bhajami. This is the description of the Goloka Vrindavan planet in the Brahma Samhita. The first description is that planet is made of Chintamani gems. Chintamani gem means if you get by chance imitation Chintamani gem, you can turn iron into gold. That is Chintamani gem. So these things are there. One may believe or not believe, but we believe because we believe in the Shastra, so we have no botheration. So there is a Goloka Vrindavan planet, Kṛṣṇaloka and Vaikuṇṭha-loka. There are as there are different grades of lokas, planets. Here also in this material world there is one planet which is called Siddha-loka. Siddha-loka means they are the inhabitants automatically perfect in all yogic practice. Yogic practice means if you become perfect in yogic practice, you can fly in the air without any instrument. Anima, Loghima, Prapti, Vasita, Bhusita, there are 8 kinds of Siddha. You are sitting here, if you want such and such thing from London, you can get immediate. This is called Siddhi, Prapti. You can become the smaller than the smallest. You can be packed up in a box. We have seen it. And you'll come out. In Bose's Circus, Calcutta, in our childhood, we saw this yogic practice. A man was tied up, hands and legs, put into a bag. The bag was sealed up, again put into a box. The box was locked and sealed, and the man again came out. We have seen the yogic practices such. Yes. Prapti, Siddhi, Anima. You can become the smaller. There was a saintly person at Benares, Trailanga Baba. So he was practiced to sit naked in the public road. So government objected that you cannot sit naked here. So he did not speak. So he was arrested and taken to the custody and put into the jail. He again came out. So these are yogic practice. It's a perfection. Anything you like. The most perfect yogi can create even one planet. They become so powerful, but still that is all material power, that is not spiritual power. The real spiritual power is that you give up this body, you give up this material world, go to the spiritual world, go back to home, back to Godhead. That is your perfection. And that is very easily obtained by this Krishna consciousness attitude. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear devotees, for coming on to listen. Today is the last day of this year, 2025. There may be announcements given by Anasriya Mataji, but we know, I just want to put it in here before we even start asking questions or sharing our takeaways. There is a program beginning at 6 tonight at the Harrisburg Temple. We're going to welcome the new year at 12 o'clock, but there will be programs from 6 on, and Prasadam also. It's all planned, so please make it a point to come to the temple and welcome to the new year, looking at and joining the Aarti for Sri Nitai Gaurachandra. We always welcome the year with Krishna, and this year shouldn't be any different. Okay, so here devotees, this is the time to unmute yourself. You have questions to ask, you have takeaways to share. Please do that now so we can have some discussion. Hare Krishna. I can start with the devotees if you're thinking about a question. In the meantime, I'll share some of the things that I noted as Srila Prabhupada was talking. So Srila Prabhupada started talking about the very elevated devotee of the Lord Yamaraj. He's the superintendent of death. Srila Prabhupada says he lives at Pitṛloka. In the beginning of the text, it said that Vidura as Yamaraj returned to his abode in Pitṛloka. So he is the superintendent of death. Later on, Srila Prabhupada talked about why he came as Vidura. But in the meantime, it says to go to different planet, you have to be qualified. We here on the earth are situated in the middle part of the universal planetary systems. We're in the middle part. And there are higher planets where one can go to, but it's according to the degree of piety that a person has. You can be promoted to higher planets. There are some that have more ability given to a resident there than others. So it depends on the degree of piety. If we're passionate, then we stay here in the middle planets like this Earth planet. And if we're in ignorance, then we go to the lower planetary system, or sometimes in animal body. By the way, the lower planetary systems are where the yakshas and the rakshasas, the demons, live. So mode of ignorance is demonic action. So we want to stay away from the mode of ignorance. In chapter 18, text 42 talks about the way in which the Brahmanas live, the qualities for the mode of goodness. Then after that, mode of passion is described in the mode of, so once you get past Bible Gita 18, chapter 18, text 42, to hear about Brahmanas, you will hear about the other qualities too, passion and ignorance, so you can stay away from those things. Bhagavad Gita even talks about the kinds of foods that are in goodness, in passion, and ignorance, and what we have to do as far as taking care of our bodies and even our tongues, what we should say and what we should not say, all of that, in order that we may be able to be cleaned up in consciousness and go back home. So the body changes in time. Things are being imperceptibly changed. This life here is a great science, Sri Prabhupada is saying. In Kali Yuga, some people are claiming to be God. And some people who are puffed up are thinking there's no need for guru. In other words, if they say that they're God, then there's no need for a teacher because God is the ultimate. And so they begin to think of themselves as the ultimate, which is obviously an illusion. What personally comes to my mind when these kind of thoughts are presented by some people that I'm God, you're God, I ask a very simple question. So which planet did you create? What in nature have you come up with? Not even the experienced very intelligent scientists can come up with anything that's natural. They just take things from nature and try to make another thing out of it. So if nature didn't exist, the scientists couldn't do a thing because they depend on nature. Have we produced anything in nature? No. Well, then how can we claim to be God then? So they say there's no need for guru. So Srila Prabhupada says the best method is to approach a bona fide guru. Arjuna submitted to Krishna. Krishna was acting in a friendly way with Arjuna the whole time. But when it came down to Arjuna being confused, he asked Krishna to be his guru and for Krishna to direct him. Jamaraj had an incident. The reason he came as Vidura, he was to punish a Brahman because this is what they do in Jamaloka. People get brought for punishment for things that they've done wrong. This Brahman said he could not, decided he couldn't remember what he had done wrong, so he was questioning why he would be taken to Yamaloka. Then Yamaraj explained that when he was a young boy, he pierced an ant with a straw through his rectum, so he had to be punished. So Brahman had no choice. He had to accept the punishment. This is the way it is. If you have done something wrong, then the punishment will come. By the way, our good deeds, we can get rewarded by that. This is the way it is for everybody, devotee or non-devotee. Good deeds, good karma, you get rewarded. Bad deeds, you're going to have to suffer for it. One doesn't cancel the other. So you did 1,000 good deeds, and then you get about 200 bad deeds, therefore aggregate of 800, so you were okay. No, you will get what you, the boons, wealth, beauty, sometimes, other things like that, good education, from your good deeds, 1,000 good deeds, but you'll also go through changes over the 200 bad deeds that you did. They don't cancel each other and say, 1,000 minus 200 is 800, therefore 800 is all good, so my life will be all good. No. That's why everybody experiences some happiness at some point, and there's a certain amount of distress that also comes and you're not able to stop it. When good things happen, we say it's good luck. No, there's nothing like luck in life. It doesn't exist. People who are ignorant think that there is luck. There is good results from good karma, good reactions from good karma, and we call that luck. And then sometimes trouble without being invited happens to us. That is also bad karma reaction. So there's no such thing as luck. You can use luck as a word just loosely, but as a devotee, you have to understand. Just like we say, I own this and I own this, but we don't own anything here on this earth. We just say that because that's what's in our possession, but we don't own it. We like living in an apartment, as the Prabhupada explained. And if you live in an apartment, you know that you get to use the apartment, all the amenities in the apartment, and what you brought into the apartment, you all get to use to live. But does that mean you own the apartment? Of course not. Every month when you pay rent, you realize somebody else owns the apartment. So that's the way it is with us in this world. Anyway, so Yamaraj cursed was to curse this Brahmana, but the Brahmana also said that I was quite innocent as a young person. Why would you curse me, punish me for this? So he also cursed Yamaraj to come to the material, to come to this earth, lower planetary systems, and leave his post. I mean, Krishna was coming. So let's just tell the whole story. Actually, Yamaraj wanted Krishna's association with Krishna. So underneath, this was all planned. They did, in fact, he had given that Brahmana and he was going to punish the Brahmana. But the whole point about how the Brahmana also counter-cursed Yamaraj was to get him to leave his post and to come to the place where Kṛṣṇa was going to be appearing and having his pastimes. And that's why he came as Vidura. So that's what actually was behind So the Vidura himself, Yamaraj himself, wanted Krishna's association. Just like in the situation of Jaya and Vijay, it was Lord Narayan that wanted the sport to fight the demon. And Jaya and Vijay faced the four Kumaras, acted very angrily towards them. Four Kumaras cursed them to go to the material world. And now, this is all happening in the spiritual world. And now, Lord Narayan, got to sport with them as demons. Hiranyaksha, Anyakashipu, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Shishupad, and Tabaka, and then finally Jagai and Madai, like that. So the Lord is behind things that happen. Anyway, so that's some of the things that I made a note of. Are there any questions? Are there any suggestions? Are there any takeaways the devotees want to also talk about? Please unmute yourself. If not, then there's a few things that I just want to add to it. So to continue the story, Yamaraj came to the earth to become a Dasiputra. Sometimes kings, when they get married, they are given, apart from, of course, the bride, the queen, young girls are also asked to go to the king's palace along with the wife, the queen. And sometimes these girls become pregnant by the king, and they are called Dasiputra. So, the son of a maidservant, those girls are acting as maidservants. They cannot become king, these particular sons, but they are taken care of at the palace. So, then Srila Prabhupada talked about Bharat Maharaj situation, many incidences of cursing. Talked about Bharat Maharaj, how he, at 24 years old, he was the emperor. He left his post, left his young wife, young children, and went to the forest to devote full attention to Kṛṣṇa, but then he got sidetracked as a baby deer that was dying in the river after his mother gave birth to him, the baby deer. He picked up the baby deer and started taking care of him. So Bharat Maharaj now became the parent for the deer. And what happened later on was that Bharat Maharaj's attention got focused fully on the deer. And it's a very, very important lesson for us to learn. He gave up his services because he got attracted to the deer. And now when he even wanted to do meditation, as is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the deer was disturbing him because the deer wanted his attention. He had become so attached to Bharat Maharaj, the deer had, and Bharat Maharaj also had become attached to him. So then when Bharat Maharaj fell and got killed, at that time he was thinking about the deer, so he got put in the deer body. And he had to live one life as a deer before the deer died, and then he came now as a human again, born in a nice Brahmin family called Jat Bharats. And he made himself very incognito, very much incognito, wouldn't talk to him, acted like he was an insane person so people would leave him alone because he did not want to go through that experience of having taken a body of a deer. The last thing he thought. Bharat Maharaj was in fact the son of Maharaj Rishabhadev. Maharaj Rishabhadev was an incarnation of a Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he was from a very, very, very high level, but the Lord's incarnation, he came from that, and still we have to think about it there. So we have to be very, very, very careful. We don't get into this situation. And finally, Srila Prabhupada said, this Krishna consciousness movement is to train people, educate people to think of Kṛṣṇa so much so that when the time comes and we're getting ready to die, everybody must die. And that's the way you get born, you die. Then we would think of Kṛṣṇa at the time of death. And when that happens, we go to Kṛṣṇa's abode. Human life we obtain after many, many, many births in non-human bodies. So we should take advantage of it and become Krishna conscious. Then we get to go to, Kṛṣṇaloka. He did talk about other yogis how to live for 300 and 400 years, even though they look young. They come to Kumbh Mela, and sometimes they try to go to higher planets. Sometimes they're successful, sometimes they're not. And I did not know that part. That sometimes I thought every time they concentrate their minds on whatever planet they want to go to, they get to go to that. But Srila Prabhupada says sometimes they don't succeed. So we also can go to any other material planet that we want to. But the smart thing is to go to Kṛṣṇaloka, which is the best planet, the highest and the biggest planet in the spiritual world, where the greatest versatility in relating to Kṛṣṇa exists on that particular planet. Every other spiritual planet is in awe. You relate to Lord Narayan in awe and reverence. But in Kṛṣṇaloka, which is the farthermost planet and the biggest planet, you can relate to Kṛṣṇa as a friend, you can relate to Kṛṣṇa as a parent, you can relate to Kṛṣṇa as a lover. Those things don't happen on the other, even spiritual planet, even though there's so much wealth that's there. And there's no anxieties there either. There's no anxiety anywhere in Vaikuntha. So we are being prepared. We're very fortunate. Hopefully we see it that way. Being prepared for the highest spiritual planet in all existence. This is what this Krishna consciousness movement is about. So maybe you join me. You don't have to state what your resolution is, but take it really seriously so you can go home. Damodar Prabhu, I saw you raise your hand. Please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So,
Hare Krishna.
yeah, very nice class by Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Talking about transmigration and how it all happens, from going from one planet to another. While hearing the story of Bharat Maharaj, like one concern I always go through is like that. I think I have asked this question earlier as well. It's always like nice to hear the answer for this one. Looking at Bharat Maharaj, it's always like, we can get next life, again we will get the chance to complete our spiritual life or, complete our journey and go back home back to work. So what's the emergency to do it right now? Why take it seriously, so seriously right now, you just like do it, but not too much, it's like that. It's like, we'll do it, but not like just do that or, something of that sort, not that seriously. So, like, how do I, understand that this is Krishna consciousness or spiritual life is something very important or a little urgent in this life as well, not just like pushing it on the next lifetime.
Yeah, very good question. Very good question. So many people I have heard talk about, this life is all right. We can do whatever we want and we're able to live, decently. And so what's the rush? Next life will come, and if we do good things in the next life, we'll also get some more boons, and we'll just stay in the mode of goodness like that, and it'll be okay. Anybody who thinks that way is an illusion. This is not to insult the person. Let me just put it another way. Anybody that thinks way does not realize the danger they're putting themselves in. They just don't realize that. Some of the things they've forgotten. And that's why they don't realize the danger they put themselves in. Just to take birth, just that period of having to take birth, the soul going into one mother's womb, it is traumatic. It just putting oneself into that situation means having to suffer in a confined space with germs biting you and all, so much, and coming through a very, very narrow path, very narrow opening in the genitals of the female, whatever species, since we're staying with human beings. Okay, so the woman, like that, to come out. Women know the fact that when they get in labor, they have to push. Well, the child doesn't just waltz themselves out, come out like, no. You go through a lot of problems just to be born. And then the very, very, very tender baby at the, anything, at the mercy of even ants. An ant can bite you and you can't even tell your mother, "Ant, please scratch it for me." You just cry. You go through so many problems. Then you learn to crawl backwards and then crawl forwards. And then there's whole education in front of you again that you have to go through. But people have somehow the ability to put all of that challenges behind them, and they think, "Oh, because I succeeded and now there's a good paycheck that comes and I'm living decently." Nobody really lives decently, but we compare to others. And comparing to others, I have more than they have, therefore I'm all right. This is the illusion the Maya puts us in. We get sick, we are always challenged by the weather, and we're still tolerating. So we're not really living a happy life. We're living a life of tolerance. See, the Papa said everything here is bad. All you have to do is compare it to life in the spiritual world, and you realize everything here is bad. This body is temporary. It breaks down. There's even more to it. You go to the bathroom, you know what it feels like, the inside of the body. You don't deal with any of that in the spiritual world. Everything is provided. Here we have to work for everything. There is no comparison. And that's why we should not think, "Oh, it's okay here." Like Guma said, some people say we're okay. But how can you be okay in a place that's an insane world? Anyone who thinks that they're okay in a place that's insane, there's something wrong with their minds too. So no, it's not good. Even in the richest country, there are always problems. There are always problems. There are wars, there's threat of wars. And if anyone, just bring it to the situation we have now, even out of the spiritual, the scripture, and bring it to our situation. Our situation now is a number of countries have nuclear bombs. And nuclear bombs exploded twice in Japan. And everybody saw what happened. They have bigger, many times more powerful nuclear bombs in a number of countries. And every weapon that is ever produced is in fact used at some point. Srila Prabhupada has already said it. These are demons, they own nuclear weapons, and he described it this way. This is quoting Srila Prabhupada directly. "You throw at me, I throw at you, that's all. Finish." Which means we're going to end human civilization, at least for a little while, according to the demigod's time, by throwing bombs at each other. Nuclear war will happen. It doesn't matter when is the issue. Why would you want to come back into a situation where you may be just bombed into Stone Age and try to live like that? Why would you want to do that? Well, by chanting, you can just go back to the place where there's no anxiety. You don't have to be born. Everything is provided. You don't work for anything. You don't pay taxes. You don't go to school. You don't have none of that. Enjoyment the whole time. So that's the alternative. Hare Krishna. Thank you for asking a very important question. Don't feel like coming back. Don't feel like coming back. As soon as you think coming back, you're an illusion. It's a lot worse than you think. And it's going to get worse because Kali Yuga is getting worse and worse and worse. So no point. Ananya Mataji, I see you raised your hand. Take my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I had a quick question, Prabhuji. Very nice lecture by Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
How can a devotee in Krishna consciousness remember Krishna at the time of death? Because death can come to you in any form. Like, sometimes you may have a long time ailment or it could be accident. I'm thinking about the worst case scenario. In such situations, it's very difficult to think about Krishna. Like, when you're in such situation, you need to have mercy of Lord Sri Krishna. So I was just thinking, how can a devotee in such situation remember Krishna and attain that spiritual world? Like, he can still go back to that.
Extremely important question. So there, as you described, there are two scenarios. Death can come slowly or it can come an accident. It can blindside immediately. It reminds me of one woman I was traveling. I had just finished my last exam for my bachelor's degree and I was leaving to go home from the university. My home at that time was about 3 hours away, so I was on the highway. This was in Ghana. And some woman in a village was trying to cross the street, and our bus was coming. She didn't see because she was looking the other way, away from the bus. She got to the middle of a road, and the bus driver thought, oh, she'll just cross the road. So the bus driver did not brake. He was just going to go right behind this person. The woman got to the middle of a road, and for some reason, still looking away, not realizing the bus was coming, she decided to backtrack, still looking away. Talk about inviting problems. So the bus could not avoid, because, if you tried to turn, the bus itself would lose control. The driver would lose control of it. So he hit her. Hit the lady, and the lady died instantly. Instantly. So those things can happen. So for a devotee, what happens? Well, let's talk about the ones that we're slowly leaving the body. The senses are shutting down. If we chant constantly, that's why we're being asked, if we chant constantly while we're not dead yet, we're in these bodies, as the main thing we do, the more dominant thing that we do, if we chant more so, that way, then the chances are very high that when death is coming, that we will remember Kṛṣṇa. And that's all. It's just a matter of remembering Kṛṣṇa when we go back to Krishna's abode. The situation where a devotee dies suddenly, not realizing death is coming. That situation, this is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya that's there for a devotee. A devotee that is doing service, a devotee that is chanting the holy name, a devotee that is serious about bhakti yoga, if that situation is happening, it's going to happen to that devotee, that they're going to die suddenly. You know how we can think of things in a split second. Some thought can come to my mind. The reason I brought it up is that Lord Chaitanya, in his mercy, forces his image into the mind of a devotee who is taking Krishna consciousness seriously. Even when that accidental death is coming, that the devotee doesn't see it coming, but in a split second, they will remember Lord Chaitanya. Literally remember Lord Chaitanya does that, so that the devotee can think about the Lord before that accidental death happens. So for a devotee, there's no loss. We cannot lose if we take Krishna consciousness seriously, if we take chanting seriously, if we take services seriously. When you're dying slowly, devotees can make good friends with devotees also. Never offend devotees, because if you offend devotees, you burn a bridge. And when the time comes in your deathbed, fewer and fewer people, sometimes if you've upset a lot of people, they won't come at all. Because they have to stop what they're doing and travel to where you are to be with you, the chance, so you can hear it and remember the Lord. So if you break relationships, that's what's going to happen. They're not going to come. Devotees are not going to come. Devotees usually may not fire back at you if you do things to upset them, but then they've written you off. And the last thing they will do is come around you when you need to hear the holy name so well, because your senses are shutting down. You can't chant. You're in a lot of pain. And they will chant to remind you. So keep good relationships, because this is how devotees, keep very good relationships with devotees and with it in general, everybody, so they can come help you to remember Kṛṣṇa. But that other side, when you die accidentally, or a person dies accidentally, that is a devotee. Lord Chaitanya takes care of that part, the way we described it. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Very good question, Mataji. Any other questions? Okay, we passed the hour by about 15 minutes. Again, there's going to be a program tonight at the temple. Come, let's chant the holy name and meet 2026 with the Lord. Leave 2025 with the Lord. This is all happening tonight. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripa sunive evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Again, thank you very much, dear devotees. Hare Krishna.